that this is now being released in the context of many other swings.
It seems a little tame now compared. I mean, it's one of my concerns that, you've got Cosby and wine.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. Nice haircut.
Yeah, did it myself. It's,
cool.
It's uneven. See?
No, it looks pretty good.
I'm bad at fades. I'm really bad at fades.
I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it myself.
Well, I've been cutting my own, or I should say I've been. If you're just going down to skin, then it's pretty easy to cut. And I've been doing that for a long time.
It's like military style.
Well, yeah, that's the cheapest, really.
For real.
It's like I can never again get used to the idea of hair being near my ears, but I want to express my independence. So I'm growing it out long on top. I mean, that big bushiness that I had, it was an expression of my independence, but it's just weird, It's weird to have hair near my ears. Ben, hello.
What's up?
How you doing?
What's happening?
I'm pretty good.
Good stuff. What are you doing there, guy? Blocking out your camera so the government can't see?
No. And if I was going to do that, I would just do this. But I'm trying to prop up a piece of paper. But I have a window right next to my desk, so it keeps blowing over.
Word.
Yeah. Let's take it away. I think we're the only people showing up again.
Right. I think we're the core members here.
Well, I wouldn't say that Jacob or David are any less core, but we're the ones who can actually make it right now.
Trying to find the agenda here in my file.
Oh, you said that you wrote Volkswagen plans on releasing an EV for around 22 for the Icebreaker.
Oh yeah, I read that.
I just wanted to cut in before the Icebreaker and say that this week I have interviews with the Army Futures Command's Plasma Boy Racing, SEMA Connect, and Energy Pal. So those aren't all going to be this week. Actually, for the next 2 weeks, I've got the episodes already in the can and uploaded to the server. They're going to get published at like around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on May 10th and the 17th. So we're looking at Sundays for the podcast. May 10th is DARPA, of course, and May 17th is the Kia, the guy from Kia.
Okay. So I've got the Army Futures Command, SEMA.
Not SEMA, SEMA Connect. Sorry, It's spelled the same, SEMA, but it's SEMA Connect. SEMA is the car show, SemaConnect is the electric vehicle charging company.
Cool. And what other groups were you interviewing?
Oh, this week, Plasma Boy Racing. I've told you guys about the White Zombie, right?
Yeah.
The Plasma Boy Racing is the team that owns the White Zombie, and John Whalen's, I think is his name. He's the guy. He's Plasma Boy. And so I'm interviewing him.
Excellent.
And then Energy Pal, formerly known as Energy Geeks, they're a solar consultancy firm, solar / other wind energy consultancy firm. The difference between them and other solar consultants like Banner Power Solutions or Rain Shadow Solar is that instead of you paying them for a consultancy fee up front, they actually will take you through the whole process for free, and they only get paid if you actually decide to install an installation at your location. So there's lots of questions you can ask, but in this interview we're going to be dispelling some of the erroneous information in the documentary that's been promoted by Michael Moore called Planet of the Humans. I will say about that movie, 40% of the movie is good. The other 60% is outdated, erroneous, or just plain misleading for cinematic or dramatic effect. And it's not really, even to the point where they're trying to say, here's your solution, they don't have a solution. They don't even talk about, because essentially what you walk away from that film with is the ideas that the renewable energy sector is terrible. It's bad. There's no such thing as a renewable. Driving a combustion engine vehicle is effectively the same as driving a battery electric vehicle, or even better for the environment. So there's no point in driving a battery electric vehicle. And they say that solar is bad for the environment, and that wind is bad for the environment, and that they're not reliable, and that the mining industry is terrible. And ultimately, we have been duped into believing in the renewable energies in industry because we are misguided human beings who cling to these ideas like religion and angels and the afterlife, karma, things like this. And when we're presented with climate change, there's nothing that the human being can actually do except create a religion that will help us survive, and that has become renewables. Effectively, they say that the problem is humans. The only solution is to reduce our population. And they don't even talk about that. They don't even talk about it. They just say that. Right?
I would expect better from Michael Moore. That's kind of disappointing to hear.
It's not his film. He's the producer of it. The director is Jeff Gibbs. Jeff Gibbs made the film, produced the film, but Michael Moore has been going on the media circuit for this film. So he's obviously seen it. I would hope that he knows that the solar dead zone they saw in the film that was 10, 12 years ago. There's another solar field there right now. The wind turbines that we saw in the film that are rotting and rusted, that's South Point, Hawaii, and that air is some of the most salty air in the United States. So of course you're going to get some corrosion on your windmills, your wind turbines down in South Point. Of course, those windmills have been taken down. It,
Not
it,
only
it's
that, but South Point is the most southernmost point of the U.S., so it's the most humid.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. But it also has very salty um, air because the waves crash up against the lava rock. I've been there to South Point. I've been to Pu'ali'i. Um, I actually have royal blood, so I was able to go out there without getting cursed. I don't believe in that, but I want to honor and respect the tradition. Not bring any bad mana.
So going to South Point is like a curse for people that don't have Native Hawaiian blood. Is that what you're saying?
Not South Point, Pu'ali'i.
Oh.
Pu'ali'i. That's the
Place where they're building the space
no,
viewing
no,
center.
no. That's Mauna Kea.
Oh.
Pu'ali'i is a royal burial ground. It's out near South Point.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
But
I was there last summer, actually. It was freaking brutally hot and humid.
oh, you don't want to go in the summer, man.
Yeah, I know. That was dumb. Dumb maneuver.
Go in January. It is still winter, so there are still storms on the ocean, but the reason why you want to go in winter and look at your weather report, but you go in winter because it's well, not in Ellensburg, but on the west side of the state. It's so cold and cloudy and rainy and drizzly. And if you go to Hawaii, it's just like, it's so nice. Even
For
like
sure.
3 a.m. and I I was in Waikiki on the beach at 3 a.m. and there was nobody there. Nobody. You look right, you look left. Whereas, and this is right outside of the Sheraton in Waikiki. This place would be crawling with people if it was during the daytime. That's when I think the best time, honestly, is 3 a.m. Sheraton, Waikiki. That's one best time. Another really cool place is around lunchtime on the North Shore. Oh man, there's some taco trucks up there. A little gravel parking lot a couple miles away. Really nice.
That sounds dope. So they took down those what we were talking about. They took down the wind energy at the South Point, and the movie doesn't really go into the specifics on, why it's not helping, right?
It goes into a few specifics, yes. And that's why I say that 40% of the movie is actually has good points. I don't agree with biofuels at all, and I'm glad they made the point that biofuels essentially means burning things that have once been alive, and if there's not enough for you to make electricity, then you have to cut things down to actually burn, which essentially means wood chips. And that's that's a good point. That's a good point. But most people realize that now. And that's why biofuels is not an accepted form of energy generation by any of the groups listed in that documentary as being associated. They say Sierra Club is the devil. Essentially, they say 350.org is the devil. You know, they don't say the devil, but that's effectively what they're saying. And
What's wrong with Sierra Club?
oh, Bill McKibben and other presidents and board members of the Sierra Club and 350.org have been paid off and are corrupt by the energy sector. That's what the film gets at. And I'll be honest, even though this footage is 10, 12 years old and they've retracted, they have retracted most of what they've said about biofuels. Watching them say it, like watching these people say these things 10 or 12 years ago on this film, very, very empowering. But Gibbs and Moore are playing this off like all of this happened yesterday, not 12 years ago. That solar field that they visit outside of the Chevy Volt launch, the 2010 Chevy Volt launch, they go to a solar field that's full of thin film solar panels, and they're talking about how this solar field has panels that are 8% efficient and stuff like that. And I'm immediately like, hey man, this even the shittiest solar panel that you can get today is going to be at least 18% efficient, and the average solar panel is 20 to 22% efficient. That is what I mean by misleading, you know. But they do talk about the production of silicon, and silicon, you know, silicon does involve having to get your smelter to 2200 degrees, and they're like, yo, the way that they do that is by putting coal in a furnace and burning it to melt down your ore that you've dug out of the ground, your silicon ore and your quartz. That's a good point, but what they don't mention is that happens inside of a building, and most of those places, I mean, if we had an effective EPA, we don't really right now after 2016, but if we have an effective EPA, they can regulate that and say you need carbon capture when you're creating silicon. But they also don't mention that there are methods now of creating solar panels. They're not widely available yet, but they don't even use silicon. It's perovskites, I believe it's pronounced. You use more abundantly available, even though silicon is 28% of the Earth's surface, there are more abundantly available elements without having to process them. and that's what provoskites or protoscovates. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Protoscovates. That's how that's and also there's a solar panel that you can make out of fava beans, red beans, and something else. So
Yeah, the
yeah.
argument I would make at the end of the day is that, even if it has drawbacks at this time, it's still a movement in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like you're burning. See, putting up a solar panel is that many kilowatt hours of energy that you don't have to burn coal for. The amount of energy that you get out of a solar panel is much more than, or the amount of CO2 that you're displacing by putting up a solar panel, I should say, is much more than the CO2 that you are creating by burning that furnace.
Right. Even on that small scale.
Yeah. Because effectively that furnace, the silicon you create is going to be used in hundreds of solar panels just by putting that furnace on for one day. If you have a good supply chain, if you have a good sales method, if people are actually buying the solar panels, you could in one day create enough silicon to displace the CO2 from that furnace. That's something they didn't mention. I mean, that's a hypothetical. I don't know how long it takes to displace the CO2 burned from that one day of furnace use. I would,
Right.
however, like to find a way to get that smelter up to 2200 degrees without burning coal. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, nuclear or something. But, what the thing is that if more factories that are already putting that CO2 in the air were manufacturing green products, that it would outweigh the cost.
Yeah.
All right.
And
well, let's keep going.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say, and aluminum is another one of those. Most of the metals that we have, most of the minerals, in both batteries and the magnets in motors involve digging them out of the ground and somehow processing them. Most of the minerals, with the exception of the minerals that are actually in pure form when you dig them up. A lot of them involve some sort of brining process, some sort of heat or conversion into the pure form of the mineral that you want, the industrial grade, the computer grade, the magnet grade. But they in that documentary they talk about rare earth magnets. They don't mention that there are motors in vehicles that don't use rare earth elements in magnets anymore. You still have a lot of those motors floating around that are rare earth magnets, but that's because we've already processed those minerals. They're already in the magnet, so why aren't you going to use the motor? It doesn't make sense to just say, oh well, I'm against rare earth elements, so I'm not gonna use this magnet that's already been made. It's after the fact.
Especially considering most most fleet vehicles don't see long distances traveled. They're usually running around one particular facility most of their life and can be charged at night. You know what I mean? So it's like the cons of electric cars are probably negligible for most companies.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying about that motor, you can buy right now a motor that doesn't have any rare earth elements in it. And it's both AC propulsion and high performance electric vehicle systems. They both sell motors without rare earth elements in them. Right now, you can put them in conversion. The Hyper 9 and the AC50.
Interesting.
That's a readily, but I'm going to be talking to Energy Pal about that. That's yeah. that was a long answer to the question.
Cool. Energy Pals.
And yeah, energypal.com.
So I want to get this right. I've got Army Futures Command, SEMA Connect, Plasma Boy Racing, Energy Pal, formerly known as Energy Geeks, and anyone else that's coming up that I should put on the agenda?
These ones aren't nailed down yet, but the EMEC is the European Marine Energy Center. Porsche and Volvo.
Sweet.
And then possibly Plug in America, probably most likely. And hopefully somebody from the Electric Auto Association. I've also been emailing a bunch of celebrities. I got a rejection from Joe Rogan. Not from Joe Rogan himself, but from his publicist. So if I was in Los Angeles right now, I'd just go down to the open mic and try to get a hold of Joe that way. But
He'd probably say
I'm not
something crazy.
Since I'm not there right now, then I can't. Because I think it'd be cool to talk to him about the Elon meme. You know, I don't know if you've seen that whole episode, but that's where the meme of Elon smoking a blunt, it comes from the Joe Rogan show. And actually not Elon, somebody before Elon, a Microsoft engineer, convinced Joe Rogan to get a Tesla Model S performance. So I think it'd be cool to talk to him about that. I think what Michael O'Brien, his publicist, is under the impression of is that A, he hasn't heard the show, B, he knows that this isn't going to do anything for Joe Rogan's career, but I don't think that Joe Rogan needs to do anything to improve his career. He's already at the top of his game. He's a legend. And then C, I think that Michael probably thinks that I have some sort of design on Joe or something like that, and I honestly don't care either way. But I think I mean, I am a little bit disappointed that he immediately says I can't do an interview, so that's fine. Also, yeah, go on.
That Instagram thing that I tagged you in of the racing team with that Volvo sedan, that guy Randy Pobst is basically the driver for Motor Trend. He sets lap times for Motor Trend. He's like, a legend, and he actually liked that comment that I tagged the CWU EV Club in. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, that post actually is what gave me the idea to contact Volvo. In that email, I also said, "Can we get permission to use the prancing moose in our. And if you don't know the story behind that, the prancing moose is actually on that car in the Instagram post. But the guy been selling the prancing moose. He got a cease and desist letter from Volvo because he's not allowed to sell it. And so I wrote in the email, I said, we're looking at sponsorships. We're using a Volvo, so I think it'd be a great fit. A1, can we use the prancing moose on the car? And then B is we have the podcast. I want to be involved. Oh, and I also asked for a full CAD file of the of the 240. So it'll be nice if we can actually get that.
Yeah, that would be great. It'd be good press for them too, because they're just going through this brand change of new ownership and all that, where they kind of need to have some like community engagement type stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of the Recharge, but the Recharge is another battery electric SUV, and that's been all over Instagram. And then Porsche, I've been in contact with both Porsche America and the German Porsche, and they say that they're looking for somebody for me to talk to right now, and that's fine. They say, yeah, we know plenty of people in the company, because what I said in that email was I want to talk to somebody who actually drives EV and works for Porsche, right? And I think that'll be just a better interview, because that person knows what the fuck they're talking about, as opposed to a PR person who's just been fed a bunch of lines from a fucking can.
Yeah.
Somebody who drives EV right now knows that EV is the future, and that's what I'm trying to go for. Because if you listen to the Kia Motors interview, one thing that comes up and towards the beginning is that he says, I like engine noise. He also says, yeah, we're coming out with efficient engines, gasoline engines. I'm like, and so he talks for a little bit longer, and then I say, if this was a journalism podcast, that'd be a lot to unpack.
Absolutely.
And then what I cut out of that episode was he says, sorry to bamboozle you with facts. I'm like, what? No, I had to delete that part from the episode because I didn't want him sounding like a dick.
Right. I think that if the sound, I wrote this actually in an essay for English 102, that if like the sound of burning fossil fuels is what's keeping people from like moving towards green transportation, then like maybe we're not worth saving as a species.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I haven't heard that one yet. I like that.
Anyways, I think the new Porsche, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the Taycan, people are saying sounds really freaking cool. It sounds like a Star Wars speeder when you're driving it.
Yeah. They do have speakers in the cabin that are connected to what we call the engine bay, even though it's not an engine, it's a motor. And that's where you get that from. The Harley Davidson LimeWire does a similar thing. It doesn't sound like that, but you have tactile feedback in between your legs. They actually have this pulsing thing where you feel the vibrations of the motor in your legs. But if you want to get a motor that actually makes a really, really cool Star Trek noise without any sound system, then you get a DC motor. and the brushes on the contactors, they actually create that whining noise. Yeah.
Got it. Cool beans. Wrote that down for our agenda. So we basically, I drafted an email that I'm going to be sending out to people, and I'm going to add a link to our website, like Ben suggested. But let me know if there's anything else you guys think would make it sound good.
Change electricity power to electric power. That's one thing that I noticed. Or either electric or electrical, but not electricity power.
Okay. Change electricity phrasing. And then I found, the list of all of the alumni on there, and I'm going to be sending it to some actual engineer people that I know through family and stuff like that.
You found the alumni?
Well, I found the list of senior projects, so I just have to go through there and find more information on each person. Hopefully they don't have their student emails, because those are probably deactivated, right?
Yeah. Well, if they're not, then they're still involved with the university somehow as a graduate student or a professor or an employee. But yeah, that's one negative thing about student projects. A lot of them have the Cebu emails. A couple of them I've seen have Gmails, but I haven't had the time to look through it all. So that's I actually couldn't find the full list myself. So thank you for doing that. What I was able to find was by searching in Google and finding the senior projects from like last year and stuff on the symposium source and stuff. You have you have access to the Google Sites, right?
Right.
You can actually, if it's cool with you, I've been changing around the website to make it less confusing, hopefully, to the human mind. But under the racing team dropdown, if you click on racing team and go down to the bottom, it says past team members, and I've been wanting to put more names on there, but I haven't found any. So if you think that you have the inclination to do that, that'd be really nice.
Okay. And then another thing was I'm going to put like our logo on the email too, I think.
Yeah.
Cool beans. So what else is new with you guys? Hanging in there?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good.
That's it.
I don't know. I'm just same old, just doing school and trying to
what are you
work on
taking?
stuff around here.
What are you wearing, Ben?
What am I wearing? I'm wearing my Zach Brown Band shirt.
Oh, we can see you. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's nice. It's nice to see your shirt.
Thanks.
Are you doing your core engineering classes yet, Ben?
Yeah, I'm doing. Right now, I'm taking dynamics, metallurgy, and SolidWorks, and then for an elective, I'm taking quality control.
Jesus,
I love that poster on your wall, by the way. That's a great poster. National Air and Space Museum.
Oh yeah, thanks. It was in the garage when we moved into the house.
I have a picture of the one of those spy planes at the Naval Air Station. It's really cool. But it has a hole in it now from somebody who accidentally hit it with a pen. It's unfortunate. You're wearing a red hat. That's not a MAGA hat, right?
No,
Okay.
I don't wear this hat in public a lot for that reason. It's because sometimes people ask, and I kind of meanly tell them no. So.
Troy
So they ask
Sivan.
you, hopefully.
No. Usually they're like, is that a Trump hat?" And I'm like, "No."
Good, because I don't usually bring that up to people that are wearing them on fear of like being shot or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I always do. But that's because I know I can take them.
Yeah. If I could, I would be more confident with that.
Troy Sivan, I remember when he came out with that music video. He's wearing a hat that says "Make America Gay Again," and it's really cool.
Nice.
But then, unfortunately, somebody was wearing that hat at a climate change rally, and they got punched in the face
What?
because somebody thought they were wearing a MAGA hat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make it pretty clear that you're parodying. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to let one idiot ruin red hats for everyone. So.
I know, right? It's like
Well,
first they
that's what-
ruin the white cape over your head, and now this.
That's what the Bloods and Crips did with blue and red in Los Angeles. I mean, certain neighborhoods.
Yeah,
I
guess that's
But
true.
what's funny about that red color is that before it was the Bloods who were the gang who wore red, it was like this gang of cowboys that I forget the name of, but they were involved in the OK Corral and stuff like that. And they wore red bandanas around their arm, I think, or in their pocket or something like that. And if you saw the red bandana, you're like, oh shit's about to go down. And then there'd be a shootout, between some criminal and this vigilante gang of cowboys wearing the red sash.
Hmm.
Yeah. At least that's what they say in the movie Tombstone. I don't know if it's real.
Oh, that's a classic. I've got to watch that.
But yeah, I just got a call from LKQ that my motor's ready to pick up
Nice. Where is it at?
in Sumner. So
Okay.
if I had a different vehicle with me, I'd just immediately drive over there because I know I'd have enough gas money. But right now, this box that I have, the Buick, I don't know. It's just such an air resistant vehicle that I hope I have enough gas to get over there. But when I do get over there, then I won't have any money at all left. So I won't have a cell phone next month when that comes around.
Right.
Living life on the edge, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking edge. Speaking of the edge, you too. Great man. So let's talk about that Volkswagen.
Yeah, so it's a cheapest EV that I've seen so far, and if I'm not mistaken, there's still a federal rebate. So if we were to get, a cheap EV, then it could be potentially like 15 grand.
That's 10,000 more then the plan is to convert the Volvo for at least the base,
Right.
So,
and it doesn't
I don't-
have the smell of old cheese in it, so that you lose that.
Yeah, that's too bad.
okay, yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised that it's I mean, obviously it's not in production yet, but that's really low cost for an EV. That would be cool.
Probably won't come to the US, but it's something. And now that we're exporting the Model 3, I bet you people are going to have cheaper copies of that coming out pretty soon.
Xpeng Motors in China. Most of these cheap EVs you can only buy in China. There are companies in China that sell millions of units, but you can only buy them in China. And Xpeng Motors is actually making a move out of China. XPENG. It's the shortened form of Xpeng, I think. But yeah, that's one to check out because they've been making the PR circuit recently as Xpeng. But there are a whole bunch of other city cars out in China and India. There's a company that only sells in India, and they do rickshaws. They've been thousands of diesel and gasoline rickshaws. They've converted to electric. Yeah. Gone, long gone are the days when a rickshaw is the guy who runs with the handles in his hands. But that's where that started, You coming in front of you, carrying you with his hands.
There's something biblical about that imagery.
Yeah.
Let my people go.
And what else did we talk about last week? Let me see here. Just to go over it, keep us fresh. We got Chris Ramsey. We can listen to that podcast. I started listening to it. You were able to find a traction motor. That could mean that, hopefully we could find one for our project at that price in the future. Brief overview of the things we need for the Volvo conversion. I've heard that there's BMSs you can buy that are pre-programmed, and you just got to have money.
Yeah, the Orion BMS, the Ziva BMS, the Zero EV BMS. There are a bunch of BMSs out there. I know a guy who made his own and actually used to sell them out on Whidbey Island, Jonathan Lustmeyer, but he's out of the BMS game. He basically made his website, Casa Delgado. He made it because he made his own BMS for his own truck, his own Ford pickup truck, and he just had spares left over that he had ordered from the factory. And he just decided to sell them until he got rid of them and all. So he doesn't actually make them. But yeah, a bunch of BMSs. But if you go to ziva.com.au, that outfit is probably the OGs in the BMS game, I would say. They're the OGs. But if you look up the Orion BMS, you can hook up the Orion BMS too, and Andromeda display, and also AEM electronics display. So, and AEM electronics, as you might know, is a standard in racing, the modern racing. It's like a little display on your dash, and you can actually, because of the interoperability with CAN, you can program your AEM display that is usually used in an ICE racer. You can program it for your electric vehicle. But
Cool.
yeah,
That's awesome.
but if we're using an electric vehicle motor from a crashed electric vehicle, there is still program that you have to do. You have to make sure that it spins.
Interesting. Okay.
A lot of times when people are talking about the BMS, they'll just refer to the BMS. I mean, they'll refer to the bus basically as BMS, even though BMS is just your battery management system. A lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, that dash system is working with my BMS, or my motor is working with my BMS," and what they really mean is bus.
BMS equals bus. Like CAN bus on your regular car.
Yeah, yeah.
Right on. So yeah, there's that. What else we talk about this week before we have to get lunch?
There's a couple, just kind of a side note, there's a couple first gen Nissan Leafs for sale in Seattle for $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know they were that cheap. That's cool.
Yeah, if you actually listen to the podcast, I talked with Chris Ramsey about that.
I'm still planning on it. I haven't taken pictures of the bike yet either, but actually, like this week, I don't have that much homework, so today I was planning on doing that.
Oh yeah, Chase, I have to add you or send you the login deets for Instagram as well, because I sent Ben the login deets. I'm using deets. Deets is short for details. So I'll send you the login info
Okay.
as a. I'll probably send you it as a private message through Instagram from the account. But yeah, and then you can actually upload your own Instas, because like I've in my emails, I think a couple months ago I sent out, I'm like, send me your pictures, because I don't want to be in all of them. you know
Right.
But I got a couple of Damon up there, which is really cool. Damon, yeah, he gets Instagram, but that's because he was the president of the ASME, so he knows what it means to promote the club.
For sure. And that lady with the Tesla next to Cornerstone, she looked very surprised. Is she cool with us using her photo?
Yeah, she said it was fine. She said it
Okay.
was absolutely fine, but I don't have any contact information for her. I don't even know her name.
Mhm.
I was actually thinking about zooming all the way in on her face. Because like in the one picture with the Tesla, and then you scroll right and you see her face. I really regret not doing that, but I didn't have time to get any more shots of the Tesla itself, because yeah. But I told her to go to the website, and I said, can we tag any of you guys on Instagram? She said, well, my son has an Instagram. He's like, you don't need to tag me. I'm like, centralev.org, as they're driving away. So
Well, the whatchamacallit, I like where Ben's head is at, because, if we could raise $5,000 to do our conversion, we might want to like get a Leaf for our club first if we raise $5,000. Like, and then go to all the events and continue our fundraising mission, of course. But that
Yeah,
might be.
it's a little bit less fun, but it could be more economical. Because I was, after I finished with my current project car, I was planning on getting a car to convert into electric sometime, just like for my own project on my own time. But I'm
The
thinking I
idea
might wait a little bit or just hold out for a used Leaf or something eventually.
The idea of the project car is that since we're an MET club, it all doing a project is much more engineering intensive than just going out and getting the Leaf. That's
Right.
that's why the Volvo conversion is, because you gotta do CAD, you gotta do aerodynamics, you gotta alter the transmission, effectively every single component on that vehicle. And the people who do work on the project, well, they're gonna have a much more solid foundation when they go into the career force. Getting the Leaf, I've thought about that, and that'd be a great transportation device for us to go to do different events as a team, or promoting our club, so that we don't have to pollute the environment. And it'd be really nice to go up to Wenatchee to talk to the congressperson, to go down to Yakima or out to Wazoo's, because they have an electrothon team, so we can go collaborate with them, talk to the battery lab out in Pullman. That'd be what the Leaf would be for. But the question is, and I put this up to you guys, is it more of a priority to have a transporter or to have a racing vehicle?
That's a good point, because like I was saying, it definitely is the more fun route, the more involved route to do the conversion ourselves. So yeah, I don't know. It might be a priority. Might be to have, because that's kind of what our club is kind of started being about. It might be a priority to have the racing vehicle, or the project vehicle for the club.
Well, my point is not necessarily about it being fun, but about it being about engineering principles.
Yeah, it's definitely more involved in an engineering way, and in a design way, which I think also makes it more fun.
But I mean, we could always get the Leaf and do some upgrades to that. But the other thing about the Volvo is that you don't need to put all of the $5,000 up at front. You can slowly matriculate products, or parts, I should say, not products, over time. Components over time. You can get the motor for $500 and then wait a little while, and then get some batteries, and then wait a little while, and then get some batteries. That's one way to do that, instead of having all the $5,000 up front. Whereas with the Leaf, you have to have the full price up front.
Yeah, wait and see when you can find deals on parts, and wait for things to surface.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
we would have to buy tools and stuff for the hangar, at some point, and that would be a little bit expensive, but
That's true, actually. Yeah.
yeah. In that letter, that racing team funds allocation priorities letter that I sent, you guys read that?
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I think so.
that's up in there. What were you gonna say, Ben?
Oh no, that was it.
Oh.
Well, I've got to get some lunch on the road, and I'm going to support a local business today.
Nice. Which one were you going to?
It's actually one that I used to work at. It's called Cielo Mexican Restaurant in Bellevue.
Oh, cool.
So it's
Awesome.
probably my first time getting food since this whole thing happened, besides like McDonald's.
Wait.
Yeah.
You're in Bellevue now?
Right now, I'm in Renton. I'm coming back to Ellensburg today.
Wait. You could pick my motor up for me, but they close at 4:30. Fuck.
I don't
I mean,
know if we're gonna be coming back that early, but I could.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Sumner.
Sumner.
That's down near like Fort Lewis.
Okay. Look where that is.
Yeah, that's a little farther south, isn't it?
Yeah. But if I were to pay you the gas to go down there instead of me having to go all the way out there. But then
Yeah, that'd be a lot easier.
you wouldn't have my ID to prove it's me, so you'd have to call me, I think, or something like that. My video is completely frozen, by the way, but I can still hear.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, I'm probably coming back here next week. Would I be able to do it at that point?
Back to Ellensburg next week? Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna be coming back to Renton and then coming back to Ellensburg, I think, next week.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would work.
Because then I might be
I'll,
able to actually get a copy of your ID or something while I'm there.
Their phone number is 425 258670. So
425 258 670.
425
Mm-hmm.
251 8670.
Okay. Because it's gonna be a lot of driving for me today, but next week we should try to organize that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, cool guys. Let me know if you have any other questions this week. I'll send out that email to as many people as I can. And talk to you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Okay.
See you guys later.
All right.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.